It's 6:03 a.m. Temperatures drop to 39 degrees. The air's still, dead still. I haven't seen a single plane overhead in 2 days now. No contrails, no hum. Just the distant hiss of wind through cracked windows and the occasional thud when the boiler kicks in, what's left of it. This is station 98.6 FM, WQAR, still broadcasting from what used to be downtown Des Moines, Iowa. Name's not important. I'm just the guy who didn't shut off the mic when everyone else walked out. Power's on. Sort of. Got the transmitter running off a backup diesel generator, and what fuel's left, well, let's just say I'm rationing it like it's blood. We're down to about 30 hours unless I can get the solar inverter running again. Battery storage is shot. Grid's been down since midnight Wednesday, maybe earlier. Last stable signal I picked up was from KOMA in Oklahoma City. Brief weather readout, and then static. If you're hearing this, then I'm talking to someone. Anyone. That's what matters. We all felt it coming, didn't we? This isn't one of those sudden disasters. Not a bomb. Not an EMP or some blackout you sleep through. This one was slow. Silent. Creeping. Like a rot in the floorboards that nobody wanted to talk about until their foot fell straight through. It started with the banks, like it always does. Monday morning, June 3rd, 2040. Markets opened late on the East Coast. NASDAQ and S&P froze before lunch. Dow dropped over 3,000 points in 30 minutes. That was just the start. Treasury yields went upside down by noon. Every economist with a podcast was foaming at the mouth. Then came the bank halts. First Fifth Third, then Chase, then Citi, all temporarily pausing withdrawals. They used that word a lot. Pause. Like this was a glitch. Like money could be put on hold the way you'd pause a song or a video. But the pauses didn't unpause. ATMs went dry. Apps stopped responding. Debit cards were declined, one after the other. People started leaving carts full of groceries in the aisles. I remember standing in the Hy-Vee off 8th Street, watching this mother with 2 kids, just frozen at checkout, phone in one hand, EBT card in the other, tears on her face because she knew. She just knew she wasn't going to walk out with that food. That was day 1. Phones still worked for a while. Data got slow, then throttled, then just stopped. I haven't heard from my brother in 4 days. He's down near Kansas City, works nights at the gas terminal. Well, worked. Don't know if they're still moving fuel down there. I don't think anyone is. Last I heard, trains stopped moving west of Topeka. No money means no logistics, no trucks, no restocks. The shelves are bare now. Gas stations are ghost lights, signs still flickering but nothing inside but broken glass and busted locks. People don't riot here, not right away, not in Iowa. They just go quiet. But that quiet's getting heavier. There's talk, over the ham bands mostly, about checkpoints outside St. Louis. Something about FEMA locking down I-70, trying to keep people from flooding out of Illinois. Supposedly there's a rationing station near Effingham, but I've heard 5 versions of that story, and they all end with someone missing. Can't confirm anything. There's no central command. The White House hasn't put out a real statement since Tuesday. The president, still not seen. Treasury secretaries rumored to be in an underground site near Denver. That's the phrase they keep using. Continuity of government. Funny how that doesn't include the rest of us. Most local officials have gone dark. Our mayor, Denise Rowland, did a live feed Tuesday morning, said they'd try to keep food flowing through community centers. Then, silence. No follow-up. City Hall's locked. Their last tweet was just an apology. The silence is the worst part. You get used to noise in a city. even a small one like Des Moines. Traffic hum, planes, leaf blowers, distant sirens. But now, it's like the world's been muted. At night, I can hear people walking in the dark. Not many. Just one or two sets of footsteps at a time, moving slow, careful, like they're not sure if they're being hunted or doing the hunting. I don't ask questions anymore. This is how it starts. They say the first 3 days are panic, then desperation, then violence. But it's not like in the movies. There are no explosions, no shouting mobs, just the unraveling. Street lights flicker out one by one. Stores stop opening. People stop speaking. I tried to buy bread from a guy out near Pleasant Hill. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Asked me if I had silver, not dollars, not cards, silver. I gave him 4 cans of soup and a bottle of ibuprofen. He gave me a half loaf and told me not to come back. Bartering's not survival. It's bargaining for time. I don't know how long we've got. Maybe weeks, maybe months. But this isn't just Des Moines. It's Chicago. It's Atlanta. It's Phoenix. It's all over. I got a garbled message yesterday over 27.185 megahertz. Truck driver calling himself Red Horse. Said he was stuck somewhere near Amarillo. Ran out of diesel. Tried to siphon from an abandoned tanker. Got shot at. He said he hadn't eaten in 3 days. Last thing I heard was, "Tell them it's not coming back." I don't know who them is. Maybe us. And maybe he's right. I'll be here as long as I can keep the signal alive. More after this break. Okay. It's 6:41 a.m. now. The sky's starting to turn gray. No sun yet. Just a low, flat overcast like the whole world's being pressed down by a ceiling of ash. Wind's still out of the north, maybe 6 or 7 miles per hour. It whistles through the busted window in the west stairwell. I can hear it when everything else goes quiet, when even my heartbeat feels too loud. I've locked the main entrance with a crowbar through the handles. Not that it would stop anyone serious, but it slows them down. Bought me some time last night when someone tried the door. I didn't move, didn't breathe, just waited. Eventually, whoever it was moved on, or gave up. I keep the lights off now except for this studio. 1 desk lamp, 1 battery-powered lantern, conserving. I can see my breath when I talk. Still cold for June, isn't it? All right, let me go over what I've got so far today. Channel 3, the emergency VHF band, has been dead since midnight. Nothing but static. I've tried scanning through 30 different frecs, even bounced to CB for a bit. Heard a woman from somewhere near Cedar Falls trying to reach anyone with food or a working car. She said her name was Clara. Sounded elderly. Alone. Said she was diabetic and rationing water and old granola bars. If anyone's out there in that region, north of Highway 20, she said she's in a house with green shutters, the one with a collapsed shed. That's all she got out before the line cut. If you hear this, Clara, I'm still listening. No word from any official channels. No weather bulletins, no FEMA, no Amber Alerts. It's all just blank. The screens in the city buses still loop the last ad from 2 weeks ago. Some telecom promo about faster banking. Feels like a joke now. I had a conversation with a guy named Martin yesterday. He walked from Ankeny, said he was a systems tech for First Horizon Bank. They let him go last week. No severance, no explanation. Just a handshake and a locked account. He told me something that chilled me a little. He said, it wasn't just a crash. It was a switch being flipped. I asked what he meant. He said the internal systems had been receiving irregular data packets for months. Malformed requests, weird loops, sub-second triggers that never appeared in audit logs. He tried to trace it upstream, but couldn't. Then his credentials were revoked. Same day, he said the mainframe began flagging withdrawals in advance, meaning it knew who would try to pull out money before they even did it. That's when he started panicking. Martin thinks this wasn't natural. He doesn't think it was a slow spiral of bad decisions. He thinks it was a planned failure, triggered, or allowed to happen. I don't know if that's true. I don't have proof. But I do know this. The banks didn't just freeze. They collapsed inward like they were hollow. Whole branches were emptied within hours. I saw one get torched. No police. Just one guy yelling about his retirement fund. Then a bottle through the window. Then fire. And still, silence. You know what's strange? You'd think with no TV, no phones, no streaming, that things would be quieter. But my brain, it's louder. My thoughts don't shut up anymore. They spin, especially at night. I keep hearing my dad's voice. He used to work security at a food warehouse in Ottumwa. Always said, "You don't realize how much society depends on trucks until they stop." He told me this story once, about a 72-hour rule. Said stores only had enough food on shelves for 3 days. After that, mayhem. I used to laugh. Thought he was being dramatic. Now, I'm not laughing. We're on day 5. Some neighborhoods are already looted out. South of University Avenue is a war zone. Burned strip malls, graffiti on every window, some of it desperate, some of it just angry. We trusted you. Where's the money? Feed us. One place had a Bible nailed to the wall with a kitchen knife. No context. The churches haven't been spared either. One on 17th Street was broken into for the canned goods they kept in the pantry. I don't think anyone meant to defile anything. Hunger just doesn't care about holy ground. I walked down to the river yesterday. Thought maybe I could scrounge for something. Fish, driftwood, maybe quiet. But the river's different now. It smells sharper, acrid, chemical. Like something upstream is leaking. Someone left a blanket on the shore with a little handwritten note pinned to it. Said, "This wasn't your fault, Maya. I just got tired." I didn't touch it. I just stood there. People are slipping away in the quiet. All right, let me switch gears a second. For anyone still listening, anyone who can pick this up, I want to give you something practical. It might save your life. 3 things matter now: water, calories, and warmth. Water. If you don't have bottled, look for gravity-fed filters. If you're near rural homes, old ceramic or carbon filters might still work. Boil if you can. If you're desperate, you can use t-shirts and charcoal and sand, but only as a last resort. Avoid runoff or puddles. Avoid chemical-smelling streams. Calories, canned food, protein bars, dried beans, rice. Calories are currency now. If you're able, eat less during the day and more at night. It helps the body rest. Share only with people you trust. I hate saying that, but trust has to be earned now, not assumed. Warmth. Layers matter more than anything. Don't use all your firewood if you can help it. Insulate. Use cardboard, duct tape, and blankets to make inner shelters. Sleep near others if it's safe. The body heat makes a difference. If you have solar panels, even small ones, you can rig old car batteries to charge radios or lamps. If you don't, find someone who knows how. That knowledge is gold now. Another signal just came in. Barely a whisper on 146.52 megahertz. It's looping, so I think it's pre-recorded. Says, "You are not alone. Station 92.4 megahertz broadcasting out of Grand Forks. Daily check-ins at 0700. We have food. We have doctors. Repeat, 92.4 megahertz, Grand Forks." I can't verify it yet. If you're up north, give it a shot. But don't go unarmed. And never travel at night. Too many have gone missing between towns. I'm hearing more about that. People just not arriving where they said they were headed. Not calling in. No answers. Some say it's gangs. Some say it's something worse. But I don't trade in rumors. Only what I see. It's 7:24 now. Sky's lighter, but not warmer. I'm going to check the backup fuel and maybe try to get the inverter cycling before the sun comes up full. If this signal dies, if you hear me go quiet, wait 30 minutes. I'll try to come back on the backup band. And if not, well, maybe someone else will take the mic. Because that's what matters now. Not the money, not the stocks, not the politicians hiding underground. It's the voice. Just one voice in the dark saying, "I'm still here, and so are you." It's 8:12 a.m. now. Just got the solar inverter to kick on. Barely. Batteries are holding a weak charge. Enough to keep the transmitter breathing for another hour or two if I ration. The diesel's too precious for daylight. Not until I know what the weather's going to do. Clouds are still thick. No rain yet, but it smells like it's coming. Still cold. I'm wearing 3 layers and wrapped in a blanket. My teeth are chattering when I'm not talking. Earlier, I found an old emergency weather radio in the storage closet. Little red unit from the 90s, with a hand crank and broken antenna. Doesn't matter. I strung a wire hanger to boost the reception, and that thing is doing more work than half the tech I used to rely on. Makes you think, doesn't it? All that shiny stuff, phones with 10 lenses, cars that drove themselves, smart fridges that ordered groceries automatically. None of it means a thing now. Not a damn thing. But a $9 analog crank radio with a busted knob. That just saved my life. That's the pattern lately. The old is outliving the new. The forgotten is rescuing the modern. Anyway, let's talk about what's been coming in. There's a signal on 92.4 megahertz that keeps repeating. I mentioned it before. Grand Forks, North Dakota. Says they've got food, doctors, and shelter. The voice is male, mid-40s maybe, flat accent. The message plays every hour on the hour, but I've only caught it twice, and it cuts out hard at the end. If that's real, then it's the first structured relief broadcast I've heard since this started. But I don't know how far their signal reaches. If you're north of Sioux Falls, try to get to high ground. Use a car battery, even a solar lawn light with some creative wiring. Listen for a looped phrase. You are not alone. There's also something strange I picked up just before sunrise. Morse code, very faint. Repeating at intervals on 14.070 megahertz. I decoded part of it. Says, "Death of dollar confirmed. Exfil operation compromised. Repeat. Operation compromised." Then silence. I don't know what that means exactly, but it lines up with what Martin said about the collapse being orchestrated. Death of dollar confirmed. That's not civilian language. That's military or intelligence. Something official. Something they weren't supposed to say out loud. And exfil operation compromised? Either someone was supposed to get out, or someone wasn't supposed to get caught. I don't like what that implies. There's a pattern to these transmissions. They all hint at something deeper than just a failed economy. Something beneath the surface. And the silence from the government makes it worse. Feels like the ground's hollow, and we're all just walking on a crust, waiting for it to give. This morning, I saw 2 people dragging a cart through the street. Homemade thing, wheels from a lawnmower, frame built from a bed frame, and some duct tape. They didn't see me. I watched from the 3rd floor, behind a broken slat in the blinds. They stopped every 50 feet, scanned around, listened. They had a kid with them, maybe 8, wrapped in a sheet, not crying, just looking around like he'd seen too much to cry anymore. That's what I've noticed. The kids. They're the quietest now. They're adapting faster than the adults. I haven't seen a dog in 2 days. That worries me. A neighbor told me yesterday that someone down by the fairgrounds was catching squirrels, roasting them over a tire fire. Another said someone offered to trade a generator for antibiotics. Another asked if I had a gun. I didn't answer. If I did, I wouldn't say so on air. If you do, don't flaunt it. Don't show it unless you have to. Desperate people are watching. Some will smile. Some will follow. Some will wait. Let me share something personal. Last night, after I signed off, I went through the desk drawers again. Found an old photo tucked under a stack of invoices. It was from a staff picnic. Must have been from 2033, maybe earlier. Everyone looked younger, healthier, normal. There was a guy on the left, holding a paper plate, laughing with barbecue sauce on his cheek. I don't remember his name. He sat 2 cubicles down, played drums, used to complain about traffic every morning. He's probably dead now, or worse, alive and lost. It hits you in waves, this grief, not just for people, for the world itself, for the routines, the normal, the small things you took for granted. Coffee shops, dentists, grocery lines, power steering, things that made life frictionless. Now everything is friction. Everything costs something. Every choice is a trade. Do I turn on the heater or the transmitter? Do I eat the last can of beans or save it for tomorrow? Do I answer the knock at the door? I don't know. There's word that martial law has been declared in pockets. Heard a voice on 40 meters say that the National Guard was patrolling near Lincoln, Nebraska. But no one's seen uniforms here. No convoys, no drones, no announcements. And that's what scares me most. It's not just the collapse of money. It's the collapse of meaning, of signal. When you can't trust what's real, and there's no one left to confirm it, the world starts to blur. I saw a man shouting on a rooftop last night, just screaming into the dark. Didn't say anything coherent, just noise, pure noise. And no one even looked up. We've stopped reacting. If you're listening, if you're still out there, I want you to do something. Write something down. Anything. A thought, a memory, a grocery list, a song lyric. Keep it in your pocket. Keep a piece of yourself with you. Because this collapse isn't just about infrastructure or money. It's about erasure. About forgetting who we were before the quiet. It's 8:59 now. I've got to check the solar charge. I'll be back on air at 9:30 if the power holds. Until then, keep the dial warm, keep the signal alive. And remember, I'm here. You're not alone. It's 9:33 a.m. Signal's holding. Barely. I've got the inverter on trickle power from the rooftop panels. Battery's not charging fast, but it's something. I spent the last half hour out there. Sun finally broke through the clouds, pale and brittle. Didn't feel warm, but it looked warm, and I think that's the kind of illusion we need right now. There's a frost line forming in the upper windows. That's not normal for June. I tried sweeping the rooftop with binoculars. Not much movement below. One truck parked sideways near the courthouse. Empty. Passenger door open. Wind caught it and slammed it twice. Nobody came out. Still no signs of organized relief. No National Guard. No local police presence. The last time I saw a cruiser was 3 days ago, and it was torched on the edge of the old rail yard. Tires burned off. Sirens still blinking in red stutters like a dying heartbeat. The town's shrinking, day by day, block by block. First the shops, then the buses, then the people. We don't talk about it, but we see it. Fewer windows lit up at night, fewer chimneys smoking, fewer voices. People are retreating, vanishing inward, or leaving. I don't know which is worse. Got a handwritten note slid under the studio door earlier. There was no knock, just that faint rasp of paper against concrete. I waited 30 minutes before checking. It said, "Heard your voice. We're 2 blocks west. We're listening. Don't stop." No name. No signature. But that kept me going. I don't know who you are, but thank you. That message was worth more than gold, more than food, more than sleep. It reminded me I'm not screaming into a void. It reminded me the mic still matters. I want to say something difficult now, something that might not be easy to hear. There are people who aren't going to make it. Not because they did anything wrong, not because they weren't strong or clever or prepared, but because this system, this whole fragile machine we lived inside, wasn't built to survive a total failure. It was built on speed, on plastic, on illusion. It wasn't made to bend, and now it's snapping. Some people are going to break with it. If you're feeling that weight, if it feels like something in your chest is too heavy to carry, or your hands won't stop shaking, I see you. I feel it too. Last night, I sat with my back against the studio wall, clutching an empty thermos like it was a lifeline, listening to static and wondering if anyone would even care if I just let the signal die. But I didn't. You're hearing me now, because I didn't. So don't you. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Not while there's still breath and bandwidth and something human left to hold on to. If you're in a dark place, light a candle. If you're in silence, hum a song. If you're alone, say your name out loud. Remind yourself you're still here. That matters. I want to give you some updates from other bands I've been monitoring. Everything's shaky, but here's what I've gathered. There are reports of gas shortages turning violent in Louisville, Kentucky. People fighting over siphon tubes. One man stabbed outside a Kroger over 5 gallons of diesel. In Salt Lake City, there's word that some neighborhoods have sealed themselves off. Local militias, barricades made from school buses and dumpsters. They're only letting in people with family ties or skills, doctors, plumbers, radio operators. Saw someone on a ham band say the Boise water plant failed. No chlorination. People are boiling snow runoff now, but it's making some sick. Early symptoms suggest chemical contamination, possibly upstream industrial waste mixing with residential lines. Someone calling themselves Station Raylight out of Flagstaff has started broadcasting emergency med tips. It's rough, but useful. Last night, they talked about pressure dressing wounds with clean socks and using tampons for bullet wounds. Crude, but it might save lives. If anyone near Arizona hears them, boost their signal. We need more voices like that. I keep looking at the clock now, like time still means something. But it doesn't. The calendars stopped mattering. The days blur. The world doesn't run on schedules anymore. It runs on survival, and that clock's always ticking in the back of your skull whether you acknowledge it or not. I measure days by the number of voices I hear. Yesterday, I heard 3. Today, so far, only 1. The silence feels heavier today. Someone asked me once, "Why are you still broadcasting?" I didn't have a good answer. I still don't. Maybe because the microphone feels like the only honest thing left. It doesn't lie to me, doesn't manipulate, doesn't make promises it can't keep. It just transmits. It listens when no one else does. And when I speak into it, I feel less alone. Maybe you do too. Okay. Let's talk practical again. If you're stuck in a cold area and don't have power, here's how to make a heater. Take a metal coffee can, fill it with rolled up cardboard, soak it lightly, very lightly, with cooking oil or hand sanitizer gel. Light it carefully. It'll burn low and steady for hours, and you can cook over it if needed. Just make sure you ventilate. Carbon monoxide is a killer. If you're out of batteries, remember, lemons and pennies. You can squeeze a weak current from citrus and copper, enough to charge a tiny device, if you daisy chain enough of them. Old wind-up watches, even more valuable now. If you see one, don't trade it away. And please, if you're able, start writing things down. Journals, maps, lists. Digital memory is gone. Paper is forever. I know this has been a lot. I know I'm not giving you good news, but survival isn't about good news. It's about truth. And here's the truth. The world you knew is gone. But that doesn't mean it's over. It means we're starting something else, something raw, something without rules or scripts or safety nets. It means we're building from rubble now, so be the one who plants something in that soil, even if it's just a story, even if it's just hope. I'll be back on the air around 10:30 if the batteries hold out. Until then, hold the line, keep breathing, keep moving. This is WQAR 98.6 FM. Still alive, still listening. It's 10:31 a.m. Still here. I just ran my hands under the faucet again, not expecting anything, just instinct. Of course, nothing. No pressure, no hiss, no water. Still dry. There's this odd ache that sets in after days of not washing your face. It's not even about hygiene anymore. It's about the routine, the muscle memory of being clean, that simple comfort of warm water, soap, a towel, gone. Replaced by a splash from a rust-stained bucket that smells like metal and regret. But I still do it. I still go through the motion, like pretending the world still works. We're all doing that in some way. I walked down to the first floor an hour ago, just to feel the air down there. It's heavier, colder, smells faintly of burnt wiring and damp insulation. I think something in the breaker box gave up last night. I heard a pop around 3 a.m., ignored it. Shouldn't have. Nothing down there worth salvaging now except wires and a box of instant oatmeal someone wedged behind a vending machine. It's a strange thing to celebrate, finding a half box of oatmeal. But I laughed, out loud, almost cried. You know what I did? I opened the packet, poured a little into my palm, and just chewed it dry. No water, no heat, just grain and dust. It tasted like gold. Still no contact from the south. Last real word I had from that direction came from a trucker up from Missouri who said the highways are gridlocked with dead vehicles. Said people were living in their cars, trying to make it west. But the gas was long gone. Nothing's moving. He told me the weirdest thing, though. said all the AM towers from Little Rock to Springfield were broadcasting the same thing. Not music, not voices, just this slow, looping pulse, like a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. He tuned in all the way through the Ozarks. Same signal. No identifiers, no call sign. Just the pulse. Never speeding up, never slowing down. He said it made his teeth itch. No one knows what it means. Some say it's government. Others think it's some kind of emergency locator beacon, maybe a trap, or maybe just a ghost transmission, a last gasp of some fallen tower system, looping endlessly without anyone left to turn it off. I haven't heard it myself, but I believe him. You start believing things when the world stops making sense. Okay, I want to try something. If you're listening, wherever you are, say your name out loud right now. Just say it. Say your name. Say your city. Even if no one hears it. Even if you're alone. Even if your voice cracks or your throat is dry. Say it anyway, because there's something powerful about reminding the world you exist. That you're still a person, not a shadow, not a number. Not one of the lost. I'll go first. My name is Micah. I'm broadcasting from Des Moines, Iowa. I was born in this city. I used to be a night engineer. I had a dog once. Her name was Clover. She died before this started. I loved her more than I ever said out loud. There. I said it. Now you go. I'll wait a few seconds. Let the air breathe. There. Doesn't that feel real? Even if I'm the only one who heard you, I know some of you are scared. And I know some of you are pretending not to be. I used to do that too. But now, fear is useful. It tells us what matters, what we want to hold on to. If you're scared of losing someone, call their name out. If you're scared of dying, write something down. Leave it under a rock, in a drawer, on a wall. Let the future know you were here. There's an old woman 3 blocks west who's been keeping a wood stove going with broken furniture. Her name's June. She's got a limp and one good eye. She traded me a tin of sardines for a flashlight last night. She said, "The worst part isn't the hunger. It's the forgetting." Then she paused, said, "I can't remember the name of my husband's favorite song." She was crying but smiling, so I sat on her porch and hummed every tune I could remember from the last 10 years. And when I got to Harvest Moon, she closed her eyes and whispered, "That's the one." We sat there, humming, 2 ghosts with a beat-up radio between them. That moment fed me more than any food I've found this week. I know this isn't what you expected from a broadcast, but maybe that's the point. The old rules are gone. The polished voices, the planned segments, the commercials, the illusion of normalcy. This isn't a show. This is a lifeline, and I'm just trying to keep it from snapping. It's 11:07 a.m. now. Still cold, still quiet, still here. I'll come back on at noon. Unless something changes. Unless the batteries die. Unless the sky falls. But I'll try. Until then, talk out loud. Say your name. Look at the sky. Touch something warm. Hum a song. You're still alive, and that means something. Always. It's 12:04 p.m. Midday now, but it doesn't feel like it. The sun came out for a while and then dipped behind clouds so thick they looked like smoke. I checked the rooftop again. There's a fine layer of dust clinging to everything. Like ash, but finer. Could be from fires to the east. Or could be something else. I tried running a Geiger on it. ancient pocket model I found in a civil defense kit, but the needle's broken. For all I know, it's safe. Or it isn't. The word safe doesn't mean much anymore, does it? I boiled more water this morning. Still had some iodine tabs. Tastes awful. Better than dead. If you're boiling too, remember, full rolling boil for at least a minute. 2 if you're above 5,000 feet. And if your water smells metallic, don't drink it. Not even boiled, especially near industrial zones. Heavy metals don't burn off. I got a shortwave signal out of Canada this morning. Ontario. Guy named Alain, French accent, said he's operating out of a grain silo northeast of Toronto. Said their banks froze the same day ours did. Their military deployed to some major cities, but rural areas, forgotten. Said people have formed exchange circles. Not barter, not black market. Just neighbors with skills meeting daily to trade. A guy with eggs trades with someone who can patch roofs. A mechanic swaps oil filters for a jar of peanut butter. Said it's crude, but it's working, for now. So maybe there's something still breathing out there. Maybe not all the lights have gone out. The downtown sirens went off again an hour ago. One long tone, then silence. No flashing lights, no announcements, just the tone. They've been doing that every few hours for the past 2 days, like someone left a timer running on an old civil alert system. I don't think there's anyone left watching that console, but something's still triggering it. It echoes hard in this empty city. Sounds like morning. I saw something this morning I haven't seen in days. Children playing. 3 of them. 2 boys and a girl, maybe 8 to 10 years old. They were kicking a flat soccer ball down an alley off 12th Street. It didn't bounce. It barely rolled. But they were laughing, loud, full-chested. No parents in sight. No adults. Just the 3 of them, moving like nothing had broken yet. I didn't call out, didn't want to break the spell. I just watched. Let the sound carry. Sometimes joy doesn't need an audience, just a little air to breathe in. There are fewer broadcasts today, fewer voices. I think the batteries are dying in most rigs, or people are conserving, or worse. But that makes these transmissions more precious. I'm going to start collecting them. If you're hearing this and you've got a shortwave rig, send out your name, your location, your status. I'll record and read them during each segment. Doesn't matter if you've got food or not. Doesn't matter if you're alone. Just say, I'm here. Let's start mapping the survivors. Even if all we build is a list of names and places, that's still something, a kind of resistance. I heard from a man in El Paso yesterday. Miguel said he's holed up in a church basement with 15 others. Said they've rigged up a water collector with tarp and gutters, filtering with sand and charcoal. He told me, we take turns watching the street. We call it the quiet hour when the sun hits the window. I asked what they do during quiet hour. He said, we talk about what we used to complain about. I asked what that meant. He said, you know, long commutes, gas prices, Wi-Fi being slow. Then he laughed, long and low, and said, we didn't know how good we had it. None of us did. You know something? I used to think of collapse as this big moment. A flash, a bang. Something cinematic. But it's not. It's slow. It's quiet. It unthreads the world one routine at a time. No paycheck becomes no groceries. No groceries becomes no cooking. No cooking becomes no family dinner. No family dinner becomes silence. And then silence becomes survival. It's 12:47 p.m. Sun's high overhead, but it feels colder than it did this morning. I've wrapped a coat around my legs. My hands are raw from the cold and from trying to open cans with a screwdriver. I keep everything I open now. Every can, every wrapper, every piece of scrap. You never know what will become useful. I used the label from a soup tin to patch a draft in the window. Used an old sock to tie a wire in place. The little things matter now. Use what you have. Every part. Every scrap. There's no waste anymore. Let me read some names I've received over the past few hours. Samantha from Wichita. 2 kids. Still cooking. Still singing. Reed in Helena. 1 lung. Still breathing. Carlos and Nadine. Near Cheyenne. Radio rig running on old car alternator. Elena. Alone. Baltimore. Says she still draws in the dark with charcoal on cardboard. You're heard. You're not forgotten. You are not alone. I'm starting to see a rhythm to all this. It's not pretty, not smooth, not kind, but it's human. And that's something worth holding on to. I'll be back at 2 p.m. if the generator holds, if the sky doesn't fall, if the dust doesn't coat the panels again. Until then, write something, build something, listen for a voice, light a candle. This is WQAR, 98.6 FM, still here, still you, still us. It's 2:03 p.m. The wind just picked up, hard. Gusts shaking the front windows enough to rattle the frames. It's blowing grit across the parking lot, lifting dust in slow spirals like ghosts looking for places to land. I opened the stairwell for 5 minutes to try and vent the smell of damp insulation. Regretted it instantly. Now everything's coated in that fine gray powder. I taste it when I breathe. I think something big collapsed on the east side. Might have been an old grain elevator, or one of the towers near the tracks. There was a distant groan, deep and metallic, and then this low boom that didn't echo, just landed and stayed. The kind of sound you feel in your ribs before your ears catch up. The city's still crumbling, piece by piece. From here, it feels like we're watching the skeleton of civilization shed its skin. The bones remain, but the life is gone. I haven't slept since this morning. I doze sometimes, in 5-minute bursts between transmissions, or while the inverter cycles. But full sleep? That feels like a luxury now. It's not that I don't want to. It's that I don't trust the quiet. Too much can happen in the quiet. The calls have slowed again. This hour I only got one voice on the 27.405 frequency. Skip wave from someone in Tulsa. She said her name was Robin. Said she's been walking west for 3 days. Left behind a house, a husband, and everything she thought would protect her. All gone. She said, I don't know where I'm going, but I just need to be moving. I can't sit still anymore. Then silence. I didn't even get to say goodbye. There's a man in the building across from mine. He's been standing in the window for 3 hours now. Just watching. Not moving. Not waving. I don't know if he sees me. I don't know if he's alive. But he's there. That counts for something. I've been thinking a lot about time. How it used to organize our lives. Wake-up alarms. Commute times. Meeting blocks. Deadlines. Now I measure time in different units. How many matches I have left. How long the battery holds its charge. How many spoonfuls of rice are left in the jar. How long since I last heard a human voice that wasn't my own? This morning I timed how long I could hold my breath, just to feel control over something. It was 42 seconds. That's something, right? I want to tell you a story before I sign off for a break. It's short, but it stuck with me. Back in 2034, during the cold snap, I met a man named Deshaun. He ran a snowplow in the South Side. We got snowed in at the same diner for 14 hours, strangers. But by hour 3, we were swapping stories. He told me that when his father died, he kept his old truck keys on a nail above the kitchen sink. Said it was stupid. Said he'd never use them. But every time he saw them, it reminded him that something once worked. That someone once started a machine, turned a wheel, and went somewhere. That stuck with me. I kept a spoon from my old break room in my pocket. Still do. Bent. Dented. Logo on the handle. Doesn't do anything now. But it was part of a world that functioned. A world worth remembering. If you've got something like that, keep it close. We're not just trying to survive bodies. We're trying to survive memory. It's 2:46 p.m. I'll take 15 minutes to clean the panel glass. Maybe stretch. Maybe cry. Then I'll be back. Same signal. Same voice. Until the last word. Until the last spark. The voice stays steady. The world keeps falling. It's 3:09 p.m. I got the panel glass wiped down. Not that it did much. Cloud cover came back fast. Still, the solar rig's holding a trickle. Enough to get through another segment. I'll drain the backup battery for the next hour and let the sun try again before dusk. Someone knocked earlier. 3 quick taps, then nothing. I didn't open the door. Didn't speak. Just waited, like I always do. Footsteps walked off a moment later. Quiet, padded. Might have been someone looking for shelter. Might have been someone counting who's still broadcasting. Hard to tell, and I can't afford to guess wrong. There are good people out there, but also people who've crossed the line. And once you've crossed it, you don't come back. Not all the way. I've noticed fewer animals. Birds especially. I used to see sparrows in the alley and pigeons crowding the rooftops. But now, maybe 1 or 2 a day. Heard a coyote 2 nights ago, closer than I liked. No dogs anymore. No cats. Even the city rats seem quieter. It's like nature's holding its breath. I picked up a signal this afternoon. East Coast. Weak. Real weak. But I caught fragments. Voice like gravel. Short phrases. Maybe a military broadcast or something trying to sound like one. Blackout zones confirmed. No resupply. Evac protocols failed. Fall back to site. Echo 6. I replayed the loop 10 times. Site Echo 6. I don't know what that means. I don't think we were ever meant to hear it. Someone once said we'd be the last to know if the government lost control. But I don't think they even cared to pretend this time. They just vanished. Left the screen on. Let the noise keep playing while the lights went out. A man named Jericho called in from northern Wyoming. Said he's been living in a cabin with his wife and 3 kids since the collapse started. Solar-powered ham rig, rain barrels, wood stove. He said something that hit me hard. He said, "We used to say we were off-grid, but that's not what this is. This is off-world." I asked what he meant. He said, being off-grid was a choice. It came with pride, self-sufficiency. This question mark. This is exile. Yeah, that sounds about right. You know what I miss? The sound of music coming from another room. When someone in the house plays something and you're not listening closely, you're just comforted by its presence. A melody moving through walls. It told you someone else was alive, that they were thinking, feeling. Now, every sound is either survival or danger. No in between. I saw a car on fire near the library, still smoldering when I walked past to get wire from the old radio shed. No bodies, no glass, just a charred frame and that smell. Rubber, fuel, scorched insulation. Someone had spray painted "I owe you nothing" across the driver's side. That's the temperature of this moment. Everyone's been pushed into the red. No more patience. No more benefit of the doubt. Just IOUs and quiet rage. Let me read some more names. These came through the CB bands and shortwave calls over the past 90 minutes. Trina, alone in Mobile, still has firewood, reading poems by candlelight. Malik and Cam, near St. Paul, built a sled to carry water jugs over ice, feeding 3 neighbors. Joseph in Missoula, still fixing bikes, says he found a full tire rack in an abandoned co-op. Young girl's voice from Akron said only one word before signal died. Mommy? If you heard your name, you matter. If you didn't, you still do. It's 3:52 p.m. That strange knocking came again. 3 taps. I didn't move. I think it's a pattern. I'm going to leave this transmitter running a recorded loop between 4 and 5. A message for anyone passing by. Tells them what frequency I'm on. What time I'll be back. And one last thing. If you knock, say your name. Don't hide in silence. Don't haunt the hallway. Say your name. Remind me you're human, and maybe I'll open the door. We QR signing off for now. Back at 5, if the power holds. If the wind doesn't tear the antenna off the roof. If the ghosts knocking on the glass stay ghosts. This is Micah. Still breathing. Still here. It's 5:03 p.m. Still alive. Still broadcasting. Power's low. Inverter's struggling, but I rerouted enough juice through the backup battery to keep the signal up for another hour. After that, I'll have to decide whether to kill the heater or cut the light. Hard choices now. It's starting to snow. First flakes. Light and dry. Drifting in circles outside the broken window like they're not sure where to land. It's the kind of snow that used to make you think about holidays, warm bread, tire chains, and someone waiting at the door with coffee. Now it just means cold. Another layer on top of cold, and more silence. I played back the loop message during the last hour. Left it on auto repeat. Nothing back. No knocks. No voices. Just the building settling, groaning like it's tired of standing. The air smells like dust and battery acid. And somewhere below, I swear I heard someone crying. Or laughing. Or both. I didn't go check. I don't check anymore. Not unless I have to. Got a weak signal from Boise. First I've heard from that region in days. Guy's name is Everett. Mid-50s maybe. Said he's been squatting in an old truck depot with 4 others. 2 women, 2 teenagers. They're running power off a salvaged windmill and a car alternator. He said something I won't forget. He said, "I used to hate my neighbors. Now I pray they're alive." Let that sit with you for a minute. Another name came through from the east. Jolene, somewhere near Philadelphia. Voice was shaking. Said she's been hiding in a hotel basement for 4 days with no food and a dead radio until someone helped her swap the battery from a fire alarm. She said, "I heard your voice by accident. It scared me. I thought maybe I'd died, and this was the last thing I'd hear." No, Jolene, you're not dead. You're not alone. Not while this frequency breathes. I'm getting more reports of looting turning organized. In some cities, people are forming raiding bands, hitting clinics, pharmacies, food depots. Not random anymore. Coordinated. They're moving block by block, setting up perimeters, threatening people who don't join, offering protection in exchange for supplies. Sounds like the start of something worse. One guy from Memphis called it the barter war. I think that phrase is going to stick. Out west, near San Bernardino, I'm told there's still a functioning medical shelter, solar-powered, built from RV panels and salvaged cable. A nurse named Daniela is running it, treating minor wounds, infections, flu cases. She's rationing antibiotics like gold, but still taking people in. If you're in that area, find her, protect her. People like her are the backbone of whatever future we're going to have. I've stopped dreaming. Not because I don't sleep, though it's rare, but because when I do, it's empty. No color, no sound, just shapes and heat and a feeling that something's about to go wrong. I used to have dreams about concerts, sunlight on lakes, warm hands. Now I wake up and forget what warmth feels like. I keep talking into this mic because it feels like the only thing that can still carry meaning across distance. Even when everything else is falling apart, a voice can still move. Across wire, across silence, across cities full of ash. It's 5:41 p.m. Snow's falling harder now, thicker. It's already layering the street in front of the courthouse. I watched a raccoon drag half a sandwich across the intersection and vanish into a drain pipe. That's the kind of observation that passes for drama now. That's all we've got left some days. Details. Little proof the world is still spinning. Let me read the last wave of names before I lose power. Hector in Tallahassee said he fixed a bike using coat hangers and fishing line. Lena in Salem, alone, still cooking rice over a votive candle. Says it takes an hour, but it's warm. Julian, Denver, found a dog, named it Credit. Says it follows him everywhere. Melissa and her brother near Buffalo said they got a signal and screamed. Says she's been writing everything down in a notebook and hiding it in a tree trunk. You are not gone. You are heard. You are part of this. I'm going to try something tonight. If the weather holds, I'll shut down the heater and use the last of the diesel to keep the transmitter running until 9 p.m. Then I'll go dark until morning. Save what's left. If I don't come back, check this frequency again at dawn. Same voice, same time, until I can't anymore. And if one day this frequency goes silent, then maybe you'll pick it up. Maybe someone else will find a mic, a battery, a reason to keep talking. Until then, this is Micah, WQAR, 98.6 FM, Des Moines, Iowa. Snow falling, signal fading, still here, still yours. It's 6:02 a.m. Next morning, barely slept. The snow kept falling all night, thick, steady, and silent, like the world was being erased one flake at a time. I woke up 3 times thinking I heard voices. I didn't. Just wind. Just the building sighing under the weight of its own bones. Still here, though. Still breathing. The heater's out. Generator ran dry sometime after midnight. The studio's like a freezer now. I can see my breath curl in the air in front of the mic, like smoke from a fire that forgot it was ever warm. My hands are shaking as I talk, not from fear, from cold, but my voice still works. That's enough. Last night, I left the mic open, dead air looping quietly under the hum of the system. I just wanted to know if someone, anyone, might speak. At 2:11 a.m., someone did. Girl's voice. Quiet. Almost a whisper. She said, I don't know who you are, but you saved me. Then static. I tried to trace the band, but couldn't pin it. Might have been 10 blocks away. Might have been 10 states. Doesn't matter. You're out there. That's what matters. I went up to the roof before sunrise. Snow up to my knees in some places. Panels mostly buried. Spent 20 minutes with a metal tray scraping ice. Hands so numb I couldn't feel the handle. Sky was pink, hazy. I looked out over the city. Des Moines. This little dot on the map we used to joke about when big stories happened. Nothing ever happens here. Then everything did. The skyline's still there. Sort of. But it's ghosted over. Covered in frost and silence. A few windows flickering orange with candles or firelight. And one plume of smoke rising slow from a chimney near the river. Someone's still burning wood. Someone's still surviving. Let me read the last names I have before we end. Angela in Santa Fe, teaching her kids how to plant potatoes in containers made from busted trash bins. Ravi in Detroit, built a windmill out of a bicycle frame. Uses it to charge an old MP3 player. Tomas in San Diego, found a notebook full of poetry in an abandoned house. Reads one out loud every day. Rosa and Jonah in Tulsa, still sleeping in shifts, still sharing a wool blanket, still in love. And you, whoever you are, wherever you are, however you are, you belong on that list too. I'm not going to drag this out. This story doesn't end with rescue, or fire, or gunshots, or miracles. It ends the way all real things end, slowly, quietly, honestly, with a breath, with a word, with a voice saying, "We were here if you've been listening. Thank you. If you called in, thank you. If you stayed alive just to hear this, thank you. You mattered. You still do. Even if this signal fades. Even if the batteries die. Even if the wires freeze and the snow eats the roof. Even if I fall asleep tonight and don't wake up. The story doesn't die. Because you heard it. And now you carry it. I'll leave this frequency running until the charge gives out. If you're passing through, say something. Tell the mic who you are, where you're going, what you've seen, what you still hope for. Because hope is the last thing that dies. And you, whoever you are, you're proof that it's still alive. This is Micah. WQAR 98.6 FM. Des Moines, Iowa. June 2040. Snow falling. City sleeping. World changing. One last time. Still here. Still human. Signing off. I don't know what time it is. Power came back on about 40 minutes ago. Not from the grid. That's still gone. It was the solar panel. Somehow the sun slipped through long enough to nudge the battery back to life. Just barely. Enough to fire the inverter, hum the transmitter, flick the mic's red light back to on. I didn't expect it to come back. I didn't plan for this. I said goodbye. I meant it. But here I am. Still breathing. Still talking. And you're still listening. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm talking to snow and silence again. But the instinct's still there. When the mic lights up, I speak. Let me back up. After the last broadcast, I shut everything down. Left a loop on the emergency band. Went to sleep on the floor in the back room with a space blanket wrapped around my boots and a photo of my sister in my coat pocket. The room was so quiet, I could hear the walls creak when the temperature dropped. I dreamed for the first time in days, I think. In the dream, I was walking through a grocery store, only everything was clean and bright and full of food, like the way they looked 10 years ago. Fluorescent lights humming overhead, music playing from ceiling speakers, and no people, not a single soul. Just rows and rows of perfect order, like nothing had ever happened. I picked up a pear, just stood there holding it. I didn't eat it, just stared. Then I woke up, teeth chattering, back hurting. One of the panels must have kicked in while I slept. The transmitter light was blinking, like something had waited for me, and then the mic buzzed. At 5:38 a.m., a new voice. Man's voice, clear, calm, Midwest accent, said, "If you're still broadcasting from 98.6, don't stop. People are still listening. We're here." Then it cut. No call sign, no location. Just that. I sat up so fast I almost hit my head on the filing cabinet. Tried to trace the signal. No luck. It bounced off the side of an old cell tower on Grand, maybe. Signal too weak to locate. I scanned for a reply. Nothing. But someone out there's awake. Someone heard the last thing I said and wanted me to keep going. So I will. It's not a morning show. It's not a news bulletin. It's not a prayer. It's just this. Me, you, a microphone, and what's left. Temperatures still dropping. Winds out of the northwest again. Strong. You can hear it howl through the stairwell like it's hunting something. Snow outside's waist deep in some places. I opened the third-floor door with a crowbar, just to peek. Couldn't get it more than 6 inches open before the drift pushed back. I saw an empty can blowing across the street like a silver tumbleweed. That's it. No footsteps, no tracks, nothing. World's gone white. If you're still alive, especially in the upper Midwest, you need to start digging in. This isn't passing. It's settling. The cold is permanent now. No grid, no salt trucks, no heat from below. If you can't trap warmth, you won't last. Build your walls. Stuff rags in every crack. Wear everything you own. Burn paper if you have to. Burn books. Burn furniture. Burn your wedding dress if it comes to that. I know that sounds cruel. I know you want to hold on. But you can't wear memories. I've been living off hard crackers and dried apples for 3 days. The apples came from a broken vending machine in a hotel lobby. Pre-packaged, sealed like gold, taste like sugar and chemical lemon. But they keep me moving. And right now, movement is everything. I want to say something before I lose the battery again. If you're listening, not just casually, but listening with your full heart, I want you to do something for me. Tonight, when the sky goes dark and the snow settles and the world shrinks down to one room and one lamp, say a name. Out loud. One name. Could be someone you lost. Could be someone you miss. Could be your own. Say it like it matters. Say it like it's the last word the universe might hear. Because that act, just naming, just remembering, it pushes back against the silence. It marks the world with something human. Even if no one else hears it, you did. And that's enough. I'll try to stay on for the next half hour before switching to loop power again. If the signal holds, I'll be back after noon. If the sun cooperates. If the panels thaw. If the wind lets go. But either way, I'm not gone. Not yet. This is Micah. WQAR, Des Moines, Iowa. 98.6 FM, broadcasting past the end of the world. one breath at a time. It's 12:31 p.m. Snow's stopped, for now. The wind didn't, though. It keeps pushing against the building like it's trying to find a way in. Some days I think it will. That the whole facade will crack and peel open like a can, and I'll get carried off with the wires and paper scraps in my own last breath. But not yet. Still warm enough in here to speak. Still enough charge to make it matter. I've been scanning signals all morning. Most bands are still dead, but a few, just a few, carry voices. Thin, desperate, stretched across static like whispers caught in a storm. I caught one about an hour ago. A woman broadcasting from somewhere near the Missouri border, named Sierra. Young. Sounded winded. She spoke in short, panicked bursts, like she didn't know how much time she had. Said she was part of a community shelter that fell apart last week. Power failed. Food ran out. Said it wasn't just the cold that drove people out. It was something worse. I asked her what she meant. Got one word before her signal vanished. Dogs. Not wild. Not feral. Dogs, she said. Then silence. Could mean anything. Could mean everything. If anyone else near the southern Missouri corridor hears this, watch the roads. Stay out of the open. Stick to buildings with more than one exit. Don't wait for explanations. Just move. Instinct is better than logic now. I walked the building again this morning. Not to look for supplies, just to see if the place still had bones. Third floor's frozen solid. Windows cracked. Water damage in the hallway has turned to sheets of ice. I nearly broke my neck slipping on a frozen welcome mat. There's a dead plant in one of the old offices. Brittle, still standing, its leaves curled like fists. Fourth floor is darker. I don't go there anymore. Last time I did, I saw writing on the wall. Not spray paint. Not vandalism. Just grease pencil scrawlings across the drywall. They promised it was temporary. No signature? No date? Just that. Maybe it was written by someone from this building. Or maybe someone came through after I stopped checking the stairwell. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's true. They did promise. And we believed them. Because that's what we were trained to do. Believe. Swipe the card. Wait for the deposit. Obey the push notification. Watch the update. Trust the plan. And now? Now we trust the sound of our own heartbeat when the street is empty. I tried calling out today. Just shouted. No microphone. No radio. Just my voice through the cracked glass, out into the wind. Is anyone there? No reply, not even an echo. But it made me feel human again. Sometimes, just asking is enough. Let me read a few names that came through over the last cycle. Drew and Hannah, stuck in an RV in Kansas. Have candles, making soup from powdered milk and crackers. Eli in Portland, fixed a transistor rig. Said he hears this broadcast in the evenings. Doesn't answer, just listens. Says it helps him sleep. Asha from near Omaha, feeding 7 people from a half-collapsed school cafeteria. Has a manual can opener she calls the MVP. Sylvie in Louisville, alone. Said she lit a menorah from memory, even though she doesn't remember the prayers. Said it just felt right to mark something. You're not forgotten. Let me tell you about my hallway, the one just outside this studio. It used to smell like microwaved burritos and bad printer toner. Now it smells like metal and mildew and rubber from the broken door seals. But there's something else there too. A box. I've been writing down every voice, every name, Every note I've received since day one. On paper. Ink. Real. Folded them into slips and tucked them in that box. I don't know if anyone will ever open it. Maybe the building collapses before then. Maybe it burns. Maybe the world finishes the job. But if someone ever does walk through these halls and finds that box, they'll know we were here. We lived. We spoke. We reached. Even when no one answered, that matters. That means something. The panels are holding, but the light's fading already. I'll switch to loop mode by 1:30. Save the charge. I think I can keep this up for a few more days if the sun keeps breaking through. If not, I'll find another way. I always do. Micah, WQAR. Still alive. Still not done. It's 3:08 p.m. I've sealed the windows tighter. Found old packing blankets in one of the storage closets and nailed them across the last south-facing pane. Cuts the light, but it holds the warmth in. What little's left. The sky outside is a flat sheet of gray. It hasn't snowed since morning, but it still feels like it might. Not the heavy kind, not the pretty kind. That light, whispery stuff that shows up at dusk and clings to everything like regret. The studio's quiet now, except for the hum of the inverter and the soft click of the heater cycling once every 10 minutes. That sound, that little electric tick, has started to feel like a heartbeat. As long as it keeps ticking, I'm not frozen. Not yet. I've been thinking about the mail, not email, not push alerts or inboxes. I mean paper, letters, envelopes, ink on your fingers. The last letter I got before everything fell apart was from my cousin Ezra in Vermont. He sent me a recipe, handwritten, because he said email felt too sterile. Chicken and dumplings, from his grandmother. I still have it. Folded twice, grease-stained, edges curling. The handwriting's jagged and rushed like he was in a hurry. Maybe he was. Maybe something in him knew there wasn't going to be much more time to send anything. Funny thing is, I never even made the recipe. Didn't have time. Or maybe I just thought I would later. There's no more later now. Just now. And I carry that letter like it's scripture. Because it proves something. That once someone sat down, thought about me, and used their hands to say so. That kind of proof is rare now. Got a strange signal earlier. Right before 2 p.m. FM band. 101.2 megahertz. Static, then a voice. Male, southern accent. Crisp, clipped, almost rehearsed. The message repeated twice, then cut off. Said, Operation Cedarland initiated. Primary grid reclamation failed. Zone 7, Delta Alpha to remain sealed until order. 91, B is confirmed. Continue broadcast on restricted frequencies. No location, no explanation, just words that weren't meant for us. I wrote them down, read them back, tried to trace anything about them. Nothing on public bands, nothing on the usual loops. It's like someone's still operating behind the curtain, still pretending there's a system left. If anyone out there knows what Operation Cedarline is, call in. I'll keep the line open after this segment. I want answers. Or at least someone willing to speculate. Because that message wasn't for the average person. It was for someone listening who's not supposed to be here. Let me shift to something real. I heard from a man near Peoria, goes by Ridge. He used to be a satellite dish installer. Now he's using that same rig to bounce shortwave signals off the atmosphere and pick up transmissions from Mexico and parts of southern Texas. Says things are bad down there too, but different. In some places, the currency collapse hit earlier. They're ahead of us in barter economies. Some cities are being run by former mayors, others by cartels, others by citizens with guns and generators. Says there's a place near Monterey that's become a trade post, not a city, not a fort. Just a place where people bring what they have and hope no one shoots first. If that's true, it means the collapse isn't total. It's just uneven. Like a building collapsing floor by floor, instead of all at once. Some rooms are still intact. Some voices still carry. I need to tell you something important. You're going to hear more rumors. More voices on the edge of the band talking about safe zones, airdrops, or green corridors. Some might be real. Most won't. Here's how you tell. Ask what they want. If they want something from you first, your location, your resources, your labor, they're not helping you. They're hunting you. Trust has to be earned now, not given. Even if the voice sounds kind, even if it sounds like me, especially if it sounds like me. Let me read a few names before sunset. Brandon in Phoenix. Found a crank-powered radio and listened until sunrise. Said the sound of a voice kept the roof from collapsing. Joanne and Theo, northwest of Green Bay. Still rationing honey packets and instant noodles. Found a working wood stove in an old motel room. Ella from Asheville. Teaching kids in her basement how to do long division. Says she writes lessons on cereal boxes and hangs them with duct tape. Marcus in Chicago. Lost 3 fingers to frostbite. Still wiring batteries in a closet. Still breathing. You're all still breathing. That's more than most. It's 3:59 now. Wind's picking up again. Same pattern. Low howl, pause, then a louder gust. Like the world's trying to say something but doesn't know the words. I'll be back on around 5:15, maybe earlier if I get another signal spike. I've got the copper antenna running hot and pulling west. If anything comes in from the Rockies or the plains, I'll log it. Until then, keep something warm in your hands, even if it's just a photo, a memory, a cracked screen that still glows faintly when the charge is right. This is Micah. Still me, still now, still here. It's 5:22 p.m. The last light's just about gone now. What's left is that dull blue haze you get in the hour before true night, when everything looks colder than it really is, and the snow glows like the ghost of summer. Wind settled a little. Still there, but not angry. Not yet. The building creaks like an old ship at sea, and sometimes when I walk down the hall, I swear I can hear it breathe. The old pipes exhale cold air. The broken elevator ticks every now and then, like something below is still shifting. You start hearing things like that when you're alone long enough. The building becomes a second voice. The copper rig brought in another strange signal. Weak, same band as earlier, 101.2 megahertz. Not a loop this time. Just one word, clear as a bell. Reclamation. No voice, no context. Just static before and after. I recorded it, played it 3 times. Not sure what to make of it, but it matches what I heard earlier. Operation Cedar Line, Zone 7 Delta Alpha, primary grid reclamation. It means someone, somewhere, still thinks there's a system to fix. That's either hope or delusion, or both. Let me tell you about something that happened earlier. I was on the rooftop, sweeping more snow off the panels, had a blanket over my shoulders, taped around the neck like a cloak. Real survival fashion. I looked up for just a second, scanning the horizon, and I saw something. Not smoke, not fire, Not light. Movement. Far west. Something. Glinting. Could have been a mirror. Could have been glass. Could have been a figure moving just beyond the corner of the highway. It disappeared fast. But I saw it. That's the first movement I've seen in 2 days. Not a bird. Not a fox. Not a car. A person. Or something shaped like one. I wanted to call out, but my throat caught. What do you even yell into a world like this? Hey? Do you need help? Are you real? I didn't yell, just watched. And whoever it was, they didn't stop. They just kept walking west. That's how most people are now, moving quietly, never announcing, never staying. They say we're all headed somewhere, but no one seems to agree on where. Got a call from a voice near Helena, Montana. He didn't give his name, just said he used to work for the power grid. Regional engineer. He told me the reason no one's come to fix anything is because the people who knew how are gone. Not dead, maybe. Just unreachable. Dispersed. Scattered. Some hiding. Some hoarding knowledge like food. He said, "You can't reboot a world with one laptop and a broken antenna." The people who designed the code, they vanished. The rest of us are guessing now. That scared me more than I expected, because I believed we had backups. That somewhere in a cold mountain bunker was a room full of experts waiting for the call. But what if that room is empty? What if it always was? I'm hearing rumors now, low-band chatter about boats. Not cargo ships, not navy, personal boats. People crossing into the Gulf, trying to reach islands. Cuba, the Bahamas, even Honduras. One guy said there's a sailboat port in Louisiana where half the town fled in the night. No announcements, no goodbye. Just dragged their hulls to the water and left. Makes you wonder. Maybe the future isn't inland. Maybe it's somewhere floating, drifting, someplace without banks, without wires, without expectations. Just sun, salt, and a little wind. Let me give you the final list of voices before I shut down for the night. Caro in Flagstaff. Still broadcasting from a closet powered by a modified exercise bike. Says her legs are sore, but her voice is strong. Dimitri and Lyle outside Omaha said they found a pig, named it Bitcoin. Mari in Atlanta lost her home, sleeping in an old school bus, teaching herself Morse code 1 beep at a time. Sam in Tulsa said he's not sure if this is real or just the world's longest fever dream. Then he laughed for 10 straight seconds and signed off. We are real. We are many. We are still here. I'll go dark until morning. Save what's left of the charge. If you're nearby and need warmth, look for the green tarp on the 3rd floor window. That's me. If I don't answer your knock, don't take it personal. I've lived through enough surprises, but I'll keep the loop running until sunrise. Same message, same tone, same voice. Micah, WQAR Des Moines, 98.6 FM, still transmitting, even if no one's left to reply. It's 6:49 a.m. Didn't sleep, didn't try. Too much wind last night, too many creaks in the stairwell. And the worst part, the knocking came back. Same rhythm. 3 taps, not hard, not desperate. Just enough to let me know someone or something was standing outside that studio door again. I didn't open it. I never do. And I waited. Sat still on the floor with a flashlight off and my coat pulled around me like armor, listening. I could hear their breathing this time. Light, slow, human. Maybe. Then they left. That was at 2:13 a.m. I watched the door until dawn. Whoever it is, they're not trying to break in. Not yet. But they want me to know they're there. And I want them to know this. I'm not helpless. I have food. I have light. I have tools. I have a voice. And I'm still broadcasting. Still here. Outside, the snow's begun to melt. Just a little. The ice near the base of the old broadcast tower cracked at first light. I saw it from the window. A jagged black line crawling through white like a fault line waking up. The city's starting to reveal itself again. And I'm not sure I want to see it. There are rumors on the low bands again. Voices talking about a caravan, east of Lincoln, headed west, not fast, not big, but steady. Word is they've got 3 working trucks, solar rigged, biofuel, moving with bikes and carts and whatever they can push. 30, maybe 40 people. Some armed, some walking barefoot. No name, no leader, no destination they're sharing. But they're broadcasting a signal. Shortwave 5.950 megahertz. Every 6 hours. They say, we are moving toward the sun. That's it. No demands, no doctrine, just movement. And hope, if that's true. If they're real, then maybe the story isn't ending here. Maybe it's just changing shape. I need to say something hard. I don't know how much longer I can stay in this building. It's not about fuel, or food, or power. It's about silence. There's a kind of loneliness that sets in when you realize every room you walk through used to be full of laughter, or arguments, or music from someone's earbuds leaking out too loud. And now they're just rooms, shells of what they were. This studio was once a newsroom, 5 desks, 1 coffee machine, a couch with a broken leg and gum under the cushions. Now it's a bunker with a transmitter. Now it's a tomb with good reception. So here's what I'm thinking. If that caravan is real, if the cedar line signals are real, if someone is walking toward the sun, maybe I should too. Not today. Maybe not this week, but soon. I'll take the gear I can carry, leave behind what I can't, and mark this place so the next survivor knows what it was. I'll write the frequencies on the wall. Leave the recordings in a waterproof box. Maybe even leave the mic on, battery permitting. Just in case someone needs to hear a voice when everything else goes quiet. Let me read a few names before I start packing. Kai and Dee in Idaho Falls, riding out the cold in an abandoned hotel lobby, using menus as insulation in the windows. Milo near Erie, still writing songs on a broken guitar. Says he's recording them onto cassette tapes and leaving them in mailboxes. Zara in South Bend, alone, built a greenhouse using plastic wrap and coat hangers. Said it smells like life inside. Glenn and Ava in Nashville. They said this station gave them the strength to adopt a stray dog and name him AMFM. Still here, still writing, still planting, still naming things. That means we're not gone. That means we still have something to fight for. It's 7:41 now. If you're listening, truly listening, I want you to do something. Say what you miss most. Not out loud, not for me, for you. Say it in your head. Let it hurt. Let it be real. And then remember why it mattered. Because if we forget what we loved, we forget why we're surviving. Micah, WQAR, Des Moines, Iowa. Signals holding, winds watching, and I'm still deciding. But I'm here, and so are you. It's 9:04 a.m. Something's different today. I can feel it in the air. Not warmer, not really, but brighter. I opened the stairwell door and stood there for a long time, just breathing. You know what I smelled? Not smoke, not rot, not wire or mildew or scorched plastic. I smelled thawed earth, dirt, that deep, damp scent of soil waking up under the snow. It didn't last, maybe 20 seconds. Then the wind carried it off again. But it was real. My body remembered it even before my brain did, and I felt something shift. A weight I didn't realize I'd been dragging since this all began. I spent the morning gathering supplies, inventory, survival check. Here's what I've got. 2 thermal blankets, 1 flashlight, 3 batteries left, a flare gun with 1 shot, half a jar of peanut butter, a can opener, a cracked solar bank with a half charge, 3 notebooks, a dozen pens, 4 that still work, a radio receiver the size of a paperback, and a torn road atlas from 2037. Most of the pages are stained. Pages for Arizona and Arkansas are missing. Iowa's creased right through the center. But I can still see the lines. Still see a way out. I'm not saying goodbye yet. But I'm thinking about how. I'll leave the station marked. Make it clear to anyone who finds it. This was a voice. This was a place of warmth. This was a signal meant to hold you together. I'll pin frequencies to the door, leave a broadcast on loop, maybe even set up a time capsule. Recordings of the names, the stories, the voices that carried us this far. This place deserves to mean something, even if I'm not in it anymore. Heard something strange earlier. Low band, 4.151 megahertz. A child's voice. Not a recording, not a loop. A child. She said, "We're on the roof. We have mirrors. We see lights west of the river. If you can hear us, make smoke." That's all. Then a crackle. Then silence. She didn't say where. Didn't say how many of them. Didn't say what city. Just, "We're on the roof." And that they saw lights. If you're out there and you see this signal, know that I'm listening. I'll be scanning for you. You're not forgotten. I want to read something personal today. Something I wrote in the dark 3 nights ago, when I thought I was done. The world didn't end with fire. It ended with numbers vanishing from screens, with lights not turning on, with doors that no longer opened, with calls that rang and rang and rang. It ended in absence, and somehow that hurt more than any explosion ever could. I wrote that while shivering in the hallway with 2 dead lanterns and a cold cup of soup. I didn't plan to read it, but I think maybe someone out there needs to hear it. Needs to know they're not crazy for feeling like the worst part of this is the quiet, the lack of explanation, the empty inbox, the way we stopped being answered. That's grief, and it's okay to feel it, even now. Especially now. I've got the radio tuned to wideband today, sweeping every 45 minutes, looking for signs of movement. If anyone hears me and is headed west, I'll be along Highway 6, not on the road itself, too exposed. I'll be cutting through back routes, 3 lines, old service roads. I'll mark my path with green cloth, 3 knots on every post. That's me, Micah. If you see those knots, you're not far from the voice. Final names for this hour. Joan in Milwaukee found a garden book, said she's tearing out the pages and planting seeds in milk cartons. Javi near Grand Junction, trying to build a radio bike. Pedals to power a CB rig. Says it makes him feel like he's doing something. Sylvia in Fargo, alone, still painting on walls with melted crayons. Said she wants the city to feel color before it dies. You are not forgotten. You're the reason I haven't walked away from this mic yet. It's 9:55 a.m. now. Sunlight's coming in at a sharper angle. You can almost see through the clouds. I don't trust it yet, but I want to. I'll sign off now and rest for a bit. When I come back, I'll read out coordinates for anyone who wants to follow. This is Micah, WQAR, 98.6 FM. The building still stands, the voice still carries, and the road is calling. It's 1:07 p.m. I'm not in the station anymore. This is a mobile broadcast. Signals coming off a jury-rigged loop, an old CB mic tied to a battery rig inside a reinforced hiking pack. Solar bank strapped to the top, copper antenna trailing behind me like a tail. Range isn't strong, but it's something. I don't know how long it'll hold. I just know I had to leave. The building felt final, like a grave with a window, and I wasn't ready to die yet. I'm about half a mile west of the Des Moines River. Found an abandoned ice cream truck. Took shelter under the canopy next to it. Windbreak and a bit of shade from the midday glare. The truck's been stripped, but someone scrawled a message on the side in red marker. They took the food, left the music. There's an old radio bolted to the dash, still wired to a cracked solar strip on the roof. It buzzes when the sun hits just right. I played with the tuner for 10 minutes. Got nothing but static and my own voice, bouncing back like a memory I couldn't shake. I've passed 6 burned-out cars, 3 stripped bicycles, 1 skeleton, small, adult, propped against a tree stump like they just sat down and never stood back up. I left a cloth marker there, 3 green knots, so whoever finds it knows I saw them. Knows they mattered. I'm walking west, slowly. No destination, just warmth. Sunday. Movement. That's all I need right now. Each footstep feels louder than it should, like I'm the only thing left alive between here and the next city. I haven't seen a soul yet. Just wind and trees and asphalt torn up by frost and time. But I feel watched. Not in a threatening way. Just noticed. Like the world's still aware of me. Still tallying who's left. I want to talk about noise. In the city, noise was life. Ambulances, horns, the whir of HVAC systems, the hum of street lamps. Now, silence is default. You notice every sound, the crunch of gravel, a tin can in the brush, a distant crow. There's no background anymore, only foreground. And your heartbeat becomes part of the atmosphere, still scanning the airwaves. Nothing solid, a few phantom voices, echoes, delayed repeats. But at 12:34 p.m., I picked up a ping. Coordinates, 41.6670 degrees north, 93.9066 degrees west. It came in as a burst, coded, 3 tones, then a pause, then, not all lights are gone, then a final tone, like the closing of a door. I marked the location. It's 15 miles west, rural, near a grain elevator in what used to be a charter school. I'm heading there. If it's a trap, it'll be quiet. If it's hope, it'll be louder. Before I lose signal, let me read today's voices. Ben in Tulsa said he finally cried, then said it helped. Ruth in Lexington said she drew a map from memory, taped it to her wall, calls it before. Marcus in El Paso said he walked 20 miles for 2 cans of beans and a story about lightning. Kira and her daughter Amelie, still living in a treehouse, said they're collecting bottle caps to trade. Said Amelie asked, "Do stars still work?" "Yes, Amelie, they still work. We just forgot how to look up. I'll be back on this frequency at dusk. If I make it to the coordinates, I'll tell you what I find. If not, well, you'll hear nothing. But not because I stopped trying. This is Micah, former voice of WQAR. Still walking, still warm, still free. It's 6:03 p.m. Sun just dipped behind the trees. Sky turned to copper, shadows stretching across the field like long fingers trying to hold on a little longer. I made it. 15 miles west. Took most of the afternoon. I stopped broadcasting while I moved. Battery couldn't handle both the solar charge and the mic, and I needed the locator app running, offline, patched into an old SatMap rig I scavenged off a UPS truck last winter. It got me here. The coordinates pointed to a small rise near what used to be a charter school, just like the signal said. Most of the windows are gone. Front entrance collapsed inward, some kind of fire. The metal sign is still up, though the letters have peeled. Hope Gate Learning Center. Can't make that name up. I walked around twice. No movement, no smoke, no sound. Then I saw it, just behind the gym. A door painted red, still intact, still locked. Above it, scrawled in white chalk, "Knock 3, then wait." So I did. I knocked 3 times, and I waited. 7 minutes later, the door opened. Just a crack. A woman stood there. Mid-30s, maybe older, pale, covered in soot. Her hair was wrapped in a cloth, and she held a small knife down at her side, not raised, not threatening, just present. She didn't say anything. She just looked at me. Then she stepped back and nodded toward the inside. It's warm in here. For the first time in weeks, I'm warm. Battery heater. Someone rigged a radiator to a wind-powered inverter, same tech I'd been working with. They've got light too, dim, yellow, flickering through a patchwork of window insulation and cloth partitions. There's a small group inside, 11 people, 2 teenagers, an elderly man in a wheelchair, a mother holding a baby wrapped in a scarf. The rest are quiet, alert, but not unfriendly. They're not a cult, not a militia, not a trap. They're just like me, tired, careful, and still alive. The woman's name is Lee. She used to be a school administrator. Said when everything collapsed, she returned here. Said the building was familiar, small, defensible. Said Hope Gate felt like a promise, and maybe a dare. She's been collecting strays ever since. Found the baby outside a burned Walgreens. Took in the old man after he collapsed outside during the first blackout. The rest just arrived, one by one, quiet, like dust after the ceiling falls. They don't know I'm broadcasting yet. I haven't told them. I'm in a side room now, what used to be the janitor's closet. It's clean, warm, enough space to stretch out. I've got my receiver on a cloth shelf and the mic wrapped in insulation. The signal's weak, but it's up. I'll tell them tomorrow. Not yet. Not until I know I can trust them. Not until I know if they want to be found. Let me give you the names I gathered before I lost signal. Terry in Yakima said he's turning old encyclopedias into fuel bricks, calls them burning facts. Rosa in Shreveport, still teaching kids the alphabet in an abandoned movie theater, uses candy wrappers to make letters. Ahmed near Santa Fe, building a tower out of scrap metal, doesn't know why, just says, it feels right. Jess in Cleveland, planted sunflowers in a parking lot crack, said, if I don't make it, maybe they will. That's all we can ask for, isn't it? Leave something behind that might grow. I'll be here tonight. Sleeping indoors. Not in a stairwell, not in a hallway, not under a leaking tarp, but in a room. With walls. I'd almost forgotten what that felt like. This is Micah. The road didn't kill me. The door opened, and the voice is still here. Even if it's quieter now, it's 4:11 a.m. Can't sleep. The heat in this room, it's enough. There's a blanket, a cot, a cracked thermos of something like tea. But my mind won't shut off, and the building creaks differently when there are other people in it. It doesn't feel like an echo anymore. It feels like something watching. I'm whispering into the mic now. Can't wake the others. Lee doesn't know I started broadcasting again. She thinks I'm asleep in the janitor's room with my gear shut down. But I needed this. Needed to hear myself say something. Anything. Because being warm doesn't mean you feel safe. And sharing food doesn't mean you stop grieving. This place is better than I expected. They have systems, schedules, a rotation for boiling water, rotating charge on the battery banks, collecting meltwater from the gutter traps. Lee runs it with a kind of quiet authority. Not a dictator, not a savior. Just someone who knows the value of order. They've got a chalkboard in the common room. On it, someone drew a calendar. Not of days. Not anymore. That's pointless. It's a grid of names. One column for each person here. Tasks, skills, memories. Little scraps of who they are, written in colored chalk that's been fading slow with every breath of cold. The top of the board says, we are not just alive, we are remembered. I stared at that for 10 minutes. I didn't ask for a column, but maybe I will. Last night after lights out, I spoke to the old man in the wheelchair. His name is Errol. Used to be a communications tech with a military subcontractor. Worked on satellite fallback protocols. Said he spent most of his adult life writing code to keep people connected in the event of non-nuclear collapse scenarios. His words, not mine. He asked where I came from. I told him Des Moines. A station, the radio, the broadcast. He nodded once. Then he said this. Cedar Line wasn't supposed to reach you. I froze. Didn't even breathe. He kept looking ahead. Not at me. I asked what it was. He didn't answer for a long time. Then he whispered, it was meant to reset the grid. But the wrong people were left holding the switch. I asked again what he meant. He wheeled himself away. I haven't seen him since, so now we know 2 things. 1, Cedar Line is real. 2, someone here was connected to it. I'm not sure what to do with that yet, but I'll keep asking. Outside, the wind is howling again. Louder this time, like it's angry we found warmth. The school building creaks and groans under its weight. The gym roof buckled years ago, collapsed under an early snow, but the rest of the structure holds. And in the stairwell, someone hung bells. Tiny ones, just a few. You only hear them when the wind pushes the door wrong or someone's coming up from outside. Right now, they're still, which means, for the moment, we're alone. Names for the night. Mari in Austin. Found a working cassette player. Said she listens to the same tape every night because it reminds her of a highway she hasn't seen in years. Tyrese in Detroit. Running a water filtration rig from an old fish tank pump. Calls it the Hope Engine. Lola near Fresno. Says she reads old comic books to her neighbors by candlelight. Said the stories feel truer now. And a voice from northern Utah, no name, just said, I keep rebuilding the same snowman every morning, just to prove I'm still here. That's enough. That's more than enough. This is Micah. Still whispering. Still listening. Still in the red door place. I'll speak again when the sun comes up. If the bells stay quiet. If the heat holds. If the story's ready. Until then, dream something safe, even if you don't believe it. Just for a little while. It's 9:52 a.m., I told them. The group here, the 11 survivors holed up in this half-buried school, I told them I've been broadcasting. Told them my name, my station, what I've been doing. Told them about you. About the voices, the names, the stories I've carried from town to town, from hallway to rooftop, from stairwell to fire escape, the transmissions, the survivors, the final breaths that became something permanent when I spoke them aloud. Lee didn't say anything at first. She just stared at me. Then she turned and walked out of the room. No anger, no panic. Just quiet. I followed her to the chalkboard. She picked up the blue chalk and started writing in a new column. My name, my task, voice. Under memory, she wrote. He carried the stories when no one else remembered. Then she walked back to the boiler room. That was it. No fanfare. But something shifted. An hour later, a man I hadn't spoken to yet, his name's Rio, brought me a bundle of wires and an old weatherproof microphone. Said he found it in a box behind the science wing. Said he thought I could use it. Then he smiled. Just a little. I think I'm staying a while. The solar charge is better here. They have a rooftop rig wired to an internal inverter. No windmill, but the angle's right. The sun hits it straight between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., and someone, probably Errol, rigged a boost circuit to amplify low-band signals without frying the board. I've never seen anything like it. I'm going to use it to rebroadcast everything I've recorded since leaving the station. 1 hour at a time. The voices will echo again, the ones we lost, the ones that mattered. Maybe someone else out there will hear them and realize they're not alone. Errol came to me last night. Didn't knock. Just rolled his chair into the janitor's closet where I was wrapping cables and whispered, "You ever wonder if they did it on purpose?" I didn't answer. He said, "I used to think the collapse was a mistake, a failure of planning, miscalculated stress tests, too much reliance on central infrastructure. But now I think it was timing. Something was supposed to happen. Someone flipped a switch, and then disappeared." He pulled a photo from his coat. A base. Somewhere cold. Mountains in the background. No identifiers. Then he pointed to the edge. A low concrete bunker with satellite dishes. That's Cedar Line Alpha, or it was. I asked if it still exists. He shook his head. If it does, it's sealed. And whoever's inside, they're not coming out. He left after that. Left the photo. I've got it in my pack now. Maybe someday I'll find that place and ask whoever's inside what they thought would happen to the rest of us. Names for today. Frankie in Rapid City. Lives in a storm drain with 2 dogs. Taught them to listen for boots. Sari in Baton Rouge. Said she's been baking bread over a car hood using mirrors and black paint. Nico in the Rockies. Built a forge. Melts scrap. Makes spoons. Leaves them at road signs with notes like, "Still human." Una in New Jersey. Translates old poetry into chalk art. Said, "If the world has to end, I want the walls to speak." You're speaking. I hear you. The caravan I mentioned before, the one moving west, radioed again. Shortwave, 5.950 megahertz. This time they included a new line, crossing Mississippi. 2 more joined. One knows field medicine. One can fix engines. Still moving. Still toward the sun. They're real, and they're getting closer. I'm going to send out a reply today. Broadcast a recording from this very microphone. Tell them who I am. Where I was. Where I am now. Maybe they'll change course. Maybe they'll come here. Or maybe I'll leave again. Walk back into the quiet. Toward something warm. With others. This is Micah. Voice of a station that no longer has walls. Signal still holding. Memory still burning. You're not forgotten. And neither am I. It's 6:17 p.m. I'm standing on the roof of the school. The wind has died. Completely. Not even a breeze. That's rare. After months of nothing but howling, this stillness feels like a warning, or a breath being held. The trees aren't moving. The snow isn't shifting. Even the air itself feels tight, like it's listening. Out past the tree line. Far, but not too far. I saw something today. Dust. Not smoke. Not fire. Dust. The kind you only see when something heavy is moving over a dry road. A convoy, or something like it. No engine noise. But I don't think they're far. It could be the caravan. I told Lee and the others. Some of them want to prepare food. Blankets. Extra room in the old classroom they've been using as a gathering space. Some of them want to lock the door. I don't blame either side. When the world ends, everyone reacts a little differently. But one of them, Rio, just said, if they're walking this far, they've already suffered enough. That felt true. So we're waiting. Earlier today, I hooked the transmitter into the main battery loop. Broadcasted for 2 hours straight. Read names. Told stories. Played one of the recordings from my 3rd day on air. The one where I read out the names of 5 people who survived the first supermarket blackout. Their voices cracked, but they spoke anyway. I listened to myself in that tape. I sounded younger and more afraid. Funny how you don't realize you've changed until your own voice plays back to you. Errol's been silent since last night. I think he's preparing something. He showed me a folder today. Faded. Stained. Inside were printed maps, fiber lines, repeater towers, emergency band layouts, a whole national signal grid from before the collapse. He pointed to a mark in the west. Cedar Line Beta, he whispered. Underground, probably dead. But if you could reach it, you might wake something up. I asked how. He said nothing, but he gave me the maps. There's a decision coming. Stay here. Become part of this small circle of warmth, or leave again. Chase ghosts. Look for a signal that might not answer. Walk west with no guarantee that anything out there wants to be found. But this voice, this frequency, It wasn't meant to sit still, and I don't think I was either. It's 6:55 p.m. now. The last of the orange is gone from the sky. Still no movement at the tree line, but I feel them closer. You can always tell when something's changed by how quiet the birds get. There's not even a crow out there now. Let me read names before the battery drops. Gabe in Las Cruces. Built a small garden with his sister. Said they sing to the sprouts. Not because it works, because it matters. Wren in Spokane. Raised a flag made of tin foil and red string. Calls it the new banner. Said it flashes when the sun remembers us. Cammie in Jacksonville. Said she lights a tea candle every time she hears a voice on the band. Says her room flickers like a chapel now. Tommy. No city. Just said, I buried my parents under a swing set and told the earth not to forget them. I won't forget them either, Tommy. Not if I can help it. This is Micah, still breathing, still broadcasting, still climbing the hill between what was and what might still be. I'll be back after midnight. If the caravan arrives, if the power holds, if the silence doesn't win, stay close to the signal. It's 12:17 a.m. They're here. The caravan. Not all at once. Not like a parade. It was slower than that. Cautious. Half invisible. Just after 11, I saw a single figure appear out of the tree line. Hood up, pack slung low on their shoulders. They didn't say anything. Didn't raise their hands. They just stopped at the edge of the field and waited. And slowly, one by one, others followed. I counted 15 people before Lee and Rio opened the red door. They didn't knock. Didn't need to. The world's been knocking since winter, the group that came in. They're not loud, not broken either. They're just worn. Hands like rope, eyes like old river stones. A woman with frost-bitten fingers. A boy wrapped in a too-big coat who hasn't blinked in 5 minutes. A man who keeps looking at every corner like he's waiting for something to fall. But they're fed now. We boiled rice, heated broth, shared old crackers. One of the school kids, his name's Warren, brought out a box of mismatched socks and passed them around like a treasure chest. They're asleep now, curled up in the gym under tarps and coats. The lights are low. The building feels full for the first time. And I'm on the roof again. Transmitting. The leader, or the one they listen to, is a woman named Dell. She's lean, late 40s, scar across her neck like someone once tried to cut her quiet, but her voice is low and sure. I asked her if they were the ones broadcasting on 5.950. She nodded, said, "We lost 2 along the river, a 3rd left in the night. But yeah, that was us. We've been walking since Wichita." I asked why they kept moving. She said, because we heard a voice on a radio. A voice that didn't lie. A voice that didn't promise. Just kept talking. And we thought, maybe we weren't dead yet. Then she looked at me, real long. "You're him, aren't you?" I didn't answer. Didn't need to. So they came for the voice. Or maybe because of it. I don't know what to do with that. I'm just a man with a mic and a signal that refuses to die. Errol met them in the hallway. Didn't speak. Just nodded once. Then he turned to me and said, "Now you're not the last one talking. You're the first one building." I don't know what that means yet, but it sounded like something important. Dell said there are more behind them. Not close, not organized, but moving. People hearing rumors of a place with a red door, a station that still hums, a voice that lists names of the dead like they were holy. She said it's not hope. It's direction, she said. And that's rarer now. Let me list names from the caravan tonight. Names they asked me to say out loud, so someone, somewhere, might know they made it. Dell from near Norman. Jacob, formerly 3rd Division. Mira and Ezra, twins, 10 years old. Roland, diabetic, out of insulin but still walking. Trish, Avenue and Anthony, Marcus. Loon, who can still read Morse by ear. Silas, who carries a violin even though he hasn't played it since fall. And Bryn, who never spoke until today. These names are now part of the signal. They will not be forgotten. It's 1:08 a.m. The wind's picking up again. But the building doesn't groan tonight. It breathes, like it knows it's not empty anymore. Like it remembers what shelter is supposed to feel like. I'll sign off now. Recharge the rig, store the voice for the next wave. But before I do, if you're out there, if you're moving, if you're bleeding, shaking, shivering in the dark, follow the voice, head west. Look for the red door. We're here, still human, still alive, still building something. Even if it's just a signal, it's 4:41 a.m. Couldn't sleep. Too many bodies breathing in the dark. It's not fear, not anymore, just unfamiliarity. The kind that reminds you your heart's still doing its job, that you're not alone in the building, that you might even be safe. I don't know how to process that yet. The caravan's asleep in the gym. The battery lights are off. The little propane heater near the wall glows faintly like a secret you're scared to admit. Someone's snoring. Someone else is crying quietly into their sleeve. And someone, maybe the violin kid, Silas, is plucking one string again and again, like he's trying to remember what music feels like. It's been a long time since I was part of anything that didn't vanish. But this place? This red door place? It hasn't vanished. Not yet. Dell and I walked the perimeter after midnight, just to check the grounds. Her boots barely make a sound when she moves, like she's used to leaving no trace. She walks like someone who's seen too many reasons not to. I asked her what she plans to do next. She looked up at the sky. Frosted stars above us, like someone threw glass across black velvet. She said, "We wait a week, then we move again. You can't stay still forever. That's how they find you." I asked who they were. She said nothing, just kept walking. Errol's been quiet again. Keeps folding and unfolding the same map. I think he's memorizing it. Or maybe saying goodbye. I found him staring at the old classroom door this afternoon. The one with the names chalked on the board. He looked over his shoulder and said, "Cedar Line Beta is real, and someone needs to turn it back on." Then he rolled away. Didn't say if that someone was me, but I think I already knew. There's a restlessness in me now. A tremor I can't shake. I've stayed still longer than I expected. Maybe too long. And I think it's time. Let me read names from new arrivals, people who came in with the caravan, or passed through on foot and left notes by the bell line. Fenn, from Boise, said he hasn't spoken in 30 days, but still hums every morning to prove his throat isn't broken. June and her grandson Miko came from Topeka, carried a solar lamp and a copy of Robinson Crusoe. Maribel, no last name, left a note. "I only made it this far because someone said your name out loud in a parking lot." Rye, from nowhere, said, "I've lost everything except my hands," then held them up like they were enough. "They are enough, Rye. You are enough. I'll be packing in the morning. The others don't know yet, but I'm going to head west, alone. Maybe with Dell, maybe not. There's a signal I have to chase, a base that may or may not exist, a tower that might be buried in snow, a voice, maybe mine, that still needs to reach someone who hasn't heard it yet. This isn't the end, but it's the last time I'll broadcast from this room. The last time I'll breathe these warm walls. After tonight, someone else will keep the signal going. Rio said he'll handle it. He knows the gear. He knows the names. I'll leave him the tapes, the lists, the microphone, the voice. That's mine. But the story now belongs to everyone. This is Micah. One last night behind the red door. Tomorrow I walk into the dark again. Toward a bunker no one believes in. Toward a hum on the edge of the map. Toward something that might just matter. Or might just finish me. Either way, I'll go speaking. I'll go broadcasting. And if you're listening out there, don't stop walking. We're all just signals in the snow. It's 9:07 p.m. Day 4 on foot. Snow crusted over. Sky low and gray. My breath comes out like static. No one followed me. Not from the school. Not from the caravan. Not even Rio, who offered me a working shortwave and half a solar panel. I left it behind. I needed to carry less. Only kept the essentials. Pack, wire, old microphone, recorder. A single note Lee slipped into the side pouch that says, "If the world forgets, speak louder." I read it every morning before I walk. I'm somewhere in what used to be West Nebraska, I think. The signs are gone or burned. Roads cracked open like veins. I follow fence lines now, and the occasional arrow made of beer cans and chalk. Someone passed this way before me. Not recently, but someone. The wind hasn't stopped in 2 days. I built a shelter last night out of tarp, snow, and 2 broken doors I dragged from a farmhouse with no roof. Slept with my head against the recorder, just in case. No one came, but something rustled outside around 2 a.m. I didn't check. Sometimes you don't. I found a signal today. Faint, weak. Could have been solar interference or a rogue echo from the past. But it hit the band just once at 7.910 megahertz. 3 tones. A pause. Then static. Not a voice. Not a call. Just a rhythm. Intentional. I sat in the ditch for an hour waiting to hear it again. Didn't come back. But I marked it. On the map Errol gave me, Cedar Line Beta is 20 miles west. Past the ridge, through a canyon with a dead town wrapped around its throat. I'm headed there tomorrow. I miss the sound of people. Even snoring, even arguing. Even the tiny sounds Lee made when she counted inventory out loud and didn't realize I was listening. I miss warmth. Real warmth. Not body heat and tarp breath, but a room filled with old, stubborn power. I miss the red door. But I didn't come out here to be warm. I came to remember why I started this. The world collapsed not all at once, but in whispers. And it'll come back the same way. One frequency at a time. One step, one name. Let me read a few. Just for me. For the wind. For you, if you're out there. Gideon, on the Missouri line, built a radio from copper wire and a soup can. Said he hears voices at dawn. Amelia, north of Salt Lake, said she lives in a cave with her grandmother. Carves messages in stone walls. John, who fixed a windmill with a shoelace in his father's ring, said, "It works when I believe it should." Mar, who saw me leave the school, didn't speak, just nodded. That was enough. If I don't make it, those names still do. This is Micah, day 4. Out in the cold again. The stars are sharp, the wind's slicing. But I'm still walking, still speaking, still recording, in case someone needs to hear what it sounds like when the world remembers itself. Tomorrow, I find Cedar Line, or what's left of it. If there's a tower, I'll climb it. If there's a mic, I'll wire it. And if there's silence, I'll break it. I'll shout until the dead wake up. Because someone has to. And it might as well be me. It's 6:42 p.m. The sky is ash blue. The air smells like frozen iron. My legs hurt in ways I don't have words for. I haven't spoken in hours. Haven't needed to, because I found it. Cedar Line Beta. It's real. Half buried under frost and cracked rock, tucked behind what used to be a substation wrapped in rust and pine roots. It looks like a memory someone tried to bury. But it's here. It's here. The door was open. Or maybe it never closed. The stairs led down into dark, thick air. I had to crawl the last 20 feet. Something collapsed in on itself years ago. Ceiling, dirt, conduit. But past that, through the tight squeeze of damp earth and metal ribs, there's a room. A broadcast room. And somehow, a generator still sleeps inside. I sat there for a long time. Didn't cry. Didn't speak. Just stared. At the panel. At the microphone. At the cracked plexiglass window looking out onto stone. It was like seeing yourself in a dream. But older. And waiting. I got to work. Connected the recorder. Rerouted the solar rig I'd been dragging for the last 20 miles. Took 2 hours just to get a charge light blinking. And now, I'm broadcasting on a backup line, narrow band, just strong enough to cut through snow. You're hearing me, even if you don't know it yet. It's me, Micah, still standing. Still stupid enough to think a voice can matter. The red door is 100 miles behind me. The school, the gym, Lee, Rio, the caravan, the kid with the violin, all of them. I miss them more than I can say, but I needed to come here. To remember what it felt like to start something no one believed in. So here I am, Cedar Line Beta, alive and ready. If you can hear this, you've survived something unimaginable. You've walked through cold and silence and ash and absence. You've lost people, parts of yourself, maybe your name. But you're still here, and so am I. So let me do what I came here to do. Let me call out. Let me remind the dark that it doesn't own us. Let me list the names. Lee, who kept the records. Rio, who stayed behind to carry the mic. Errol, who never stopped believing in signal paths. Dell, who led the caravan west. Silas, who strung one broken string and called it a song. Wren, who raised the tinfoil flag. Gabe, who sang to the plants. Tommy, who buried his parents under the swing. And let me add mine. Micah, who kept speaking, even when the world forgot how. The lights are holding. The tone is clean. The voice is clear. And the frequency is live. If you have a rig, tune in. If you're walking, listen for the hum. If you're hiding, don't. Come back. We can build something here. Small, stubborn, human. This will be the last time I use my own name. From now on, this station belongs to the world. To anyone who finds it. To To anyone who dares to speak into the dark, the door is unlocked, the mic is warm, and the signal never dies. This is Cedarline Beta, transmitting live. No codes, no promises, just a voice. One last voice. Still here, still speaking, still yours.